Welcome. I'm Liz Taylor, ocean explorer, naturalist, and entrepreneur.
I'm Sylvia Earle. I'm an oceanographer, National Geographic explorer. I'm an ocean elder. Thank you, ocean elders, for sponsoring this program.
And this is our show, Dive In, where we host informal and open conversations with the ocean community on topics of wonder and interest. We are really glad to be back and hope everyone has made some time to get outdoors. I'm going to start sharing the screen in a few minutes. And as we go through the conversation, please put your questions into the Q&A box and we'll get to as many as we can at the end of the program. And as we get started, we want to remind everyone that the world
is blue
and green. And today we are talking with Carlos Mallo Molina. Carlos trained and became a highly accomplished civil engineer, but drastically changed course when a major infrastructure project near Tenerife he'd been asked to work on would cause irreparable damage to the environment. His efforts have recently been recognized with the Goldman Environmental Prize. Welcome, Carlos.
Before we say welcome, I want to say thank you for being a champion.
Yes.
For Mission Blue Hope Spot. Bravo.
Yes.
Thank you so much. It's a dream for me to be here.
Well, thank you so much for being with us. So tell us, as I'm getting ready to share the screen, tell us a little bit about your experience growing up by the ocean and how it inspired you.
So, well, where to start? I was born by the ocean. I think that helped. My dad was an accomplished civil engineer who built so many ports in the coast of Spain. So I follow the path. But I spent so many of my hours as a kid in the water, in the blue. And I think that was what really drastically influenced my future.
Excellent.
The ocean is a good teacher.
It's a very good teacher.
The best.
And then, taking the engineering path, it sounds like there was just it was kind of a natural family progression.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I was born looking at my dad building this kind of thing. So I always understood the ocean as a place to develop and to build things and to put concrete and create these infrastructures that, of course, they were important for Spain at that time. And that's a picture of my dad. And yeah, I'm still very inspired by his path. And I changed my path in my career and everything, but I still feel like all what I learned from him is super valid into the marine conservation field.
Mm-hmm. It is because, there is necessary infrastructure that happens along the shore, and it's thinking about how to do things responsibly.
Well, it's understanding the nature of salt water, what it does to materials.
Like steel.
And building submersibles or building a dock, building whatever it is, a boat, you have to think like the ocean and really understand the ocean relative to the materials you're using. And
100%.
Yeah. Oh, look at this.
Yeah, this is me like many years ago, 1992. And yeah, as I said, this is probably what this is the whole problem in my career, that I was so obsessed with every creature and everything that was living under the ocean, and that I got super connected to the ocean since I was a kid. And since then, every time I come back to the ocean is where I am happy.
Going home.
Well, this is, to Sylvia's point, every time we talk about kids in the ocean, she says, no child should be left dry. So, and I well remember being a kid just like this and going out and snorkeling around in the seagrass meadows, and there's just such an abundance of life, all the small animals that are within the seagrasses, all the seahorses and the small juvenile fish and the turtles coming through to eat.
Yeah.
It's true. It's and that kid that you see in that become the next slide that you were just pointing, that was me like many years after. And this is a very special moment in my life, because I was like a successful engineer and my dad was super proud of me, and I was actually building a road that connected with the future Fonsalia port. That's the whole story that I will tell you in a minute. But yeah, I think I think engineers have developed a way to really grow things and make incredible things. And I just keep thinking, and I think you, Sylvia, well, I mean, you too, at least you are engineers too, right? So it's like how much we can really bring in the way of protection and conservation.
Yeah, it's connecting the engineering with the conservation, or engineering with nature as a piece of the equation. That's very critical. And sometimes, especially with civil engineering, it's just about how fast and how cheap can we pave this area over.
Exactly, exactly. It's about money. Always is about money.
Yeah, how does it pencil out? You know, how can we stretch the concrete budget further? Those kinds of questions, and not what is the impact to the environment going to be.
Exactly. And this map is the Canary Islands, and I will come back to this because there is other slides, but we are hoping that you two come very soon to the Canary Islands because we need you there, and it's our Spanish Hawaii. That's how we kind of call it, or the European Hawaii actually, and
European wine, that's great.
you definitely need to come.
Come and celebrate your achievement with the Goldman Prize and also what you're doing with the Hope Spot, just what you're doing with the ocean, and true guardian.
Thank you. Well, I have to say that when I was living there and building, I got very inspired by Sylvia, by your books and by your stories, and so you definitely make a twitch in my brain to start doing what I'm doing now. And and this is the Macaronesia, another place in the world that is it's not as famous as the tropical Pacific or like, places like Micronesia that has a lot of media focus. But here, the Macaronesia is such an incredible place, and it's all of this archipelago that is called Las Islas Afortunadas, which means the fortunate islands, because we have the trade winds, and those winds are bringing so many nutrients, and we have so many species of animals. And it's this mix between Spain, Portugal, and Cape Verde or Cabo Verde. And so, yeah, I'm hoping that soon you will come and visit.
Well,
Yes, go ahead.
yeah, when we were kind of going through the deck ahead of the program, we're really loving this slide because it shows sort of the intersection of the number of hope spots and the real ability for these to kind of, feed off one another in a very productive way, and to really help celebrate the whole region in this connective way, and potential swimway protection we were talking about for some of the big keynote species.
Oh, sperm whales.
Sperm whales. Unfortunately, last week there were 3 death sperm whales around Tenerife, and that was very sad.
Why?
Yeah.
Was
Was
it
it no?
Yeah, so at least one of them is probably because the propeller they had of a boat,
ship
or
strike? Oh, no.
yeah, it's but this is still like under research. But it's because there is so many boats. There is just too many people coming to the islands and too many boats, and just development is
The
affecting.
problem seems that there's so much noise, sound in the ocean from ship traffic that is new. Think of the history of whales long before humans existed, let alone human transport with motorized vessels that really mostly in the latter part of the 20th century and now into the 21st. It's hard to find a quiet place in the sea.
Yeah.
And for creatures who depend on sound for communication for their existence, it was said that a deaf whale is a dead whale
Hmm.
because you can't communicate with others and you can't find food. I mean, it's truly an issue that has been only recently coming into focus to make ships quieter, to be respectful of the areas you're in. And one of the goals, perhaps, I see some of the shipping companies, MSC, for example, is really looking to what can be done to channel their behaviors for the shipping that can be respectful of where the whales go. And there are laws coming into place that really begin to respect our traffic as well as the traffic of the creatures of the sea, and ours, and so we can be more compatible,
And more mindful, I think.
mindful, right?
Yeah.
So it's a move in the right direction.
but it's another one of those areas where it's so much about the money, right?
Always.
Making up time, getting goods from here to there as fast as possible. And
We're not really respecting the cost, but we don't value what seems to be free.
yeah,
And
so but I do love this slide and just the connectivity to these areas, and this map is great too because it reveals some of the terrain below the surface,
yeah,
and really thinking about these as just huge mountain ranges that are there to be explored.
Yeah, that's something, Liz. We need to talk more because it's so deep. It's so deep. Like, and we need a submarine. And in the Canary Islands, it's very fun.
Believe me, we're scheming on that right now. We have the whole new model to apply here. I think this idea of having them as regional assets that can really tie the community into the equation, not just sort of a visiting expedition, but where the technology becomes part and parcel of the community and
an asset.
and the kids coming up in school trained to become all kinds of different blue-green economic jobs, from submersible pilot to
Nerdy scientists.
nerdy scientists, yeah, to engineers,
Or
and
artists.
and especially the civil engineers that can do things the right way.
Well, yeah, sometimes we can. And coming back to the point of so last week I was in Gran Canaria with this new project that is called MPA Canary Islands, and we are trying to reassess the MPAs around the Canary Islands, and this is all funded by Oceans 5, and we have Marta Marrero, who is the Oceans 5 representative in Europe, that is actually from the Canary Islands, and we have one guy from the government and another guy from the Maritime International Organization. And they were sending each other the pictures of the dead whales and saying, oh my God, we need to stop this. So it makes me feel very happy that the decision makers are having this, they feel about this. So they want to change things.
That's good. We've had it similar here in San Francisco Bay this year. We've already had, I think, 5 dead gray whales. And so far, they think mostly it's been ship strike and/or entanglement with fishing gear that's caused the problems.
Coupled with the fact that we're taking their food.
Well, that too.
Yeah.
It's hard. It's hard to survive when you're just trying to survive.
Yeah.
You don't have enough food.
That's true. And just very quick, listen. So I want to also kind of come back to the idea of where the Canary Islands are, because it's part of Spain, but it's actually very far from what people think about Spain, the mainland. And it's very close to Africa. So actually, sometimes it's like, why this is Spanish? Like, it's kind of Hawaii for you.
Yeah,
And we have
one more.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's even better.
It's even better. It's so close to Sahara. So it's when there is a lot of wind, there is what we call kalima, that the whole island turns into yellow. So all the wind is coming with all the sand from the desert, and it's bringing out the nutrients too.
Yeah, I was reading about that as sort of a trigger to some of the coral disease in the Caribbean, and even things that are kind of stimulating sargassum blooms and things of this nature, some of these nutrients flowing off of the desert sand in the desert, these agricultural areas close to the desert. It's really kind of fascinating.
Everything connects.
It's a land current.
So yeah, and to come back to the idea of in the next one, you can go to the next one. This is one of the things that moved me the most to change career, or maybe like approach construction in a different way. I was building that road. So if you see in the right side, the map, the red line is the road I was building, that you saw the picture with the bridge, and it finished in Fonsalia. And Fonsalia was going to be this monster port in the middle of a marine protected area. That
Wow.
was going to be very bad.
That's a huge undertaking.
Well,
yeah.
I think marine protected area.
Or is it?
Protected from what?
That's actually the point. Like, is why is, if you create a port in the middle of a marine protected area, it's not protected anymore? And that was kind of what we were starting to think about. And and the government was saying this was to improve the connectivity with other islands, but then suddenly they have like 450 recreational boats that they wanted to put on the port, and there were a lot of cruises, and it was very bad.
Yeah, no, that's the way it usually goes, and they just trying to think, just looking at one through one economic lens and not the
Not the whole
whole,
picture.
the whole picture.
Or the long-term consequences.
Yeah.
Mm.
Here you have some amazing pictures of the underwater in these areas and all what you can find. And one of the very special ingredients here that is very rare is the one at the bottom to the right, is the angel sharks, the Squatina squatina.
Just a beautiful animal, and you like you say, really unusual, but the type of animal that people want to come and be able to see and to figure out, like, add to their life list, because it's such a cool kind of a shark.
They have a place.
And
And
then
yeah,
so much seagrass in here too. I can just see the, bits and pieces of it, but that's a huge piece of the carbon capture that
And
just
oxygen
and oxygen production. That's just like that's another free service that's going on there. That's vitally important.
it's
And
super important. And we, with my organization, with Innoceana, we are working a lot with the seagrass because people don't know about it. I always say, like, everybody knows about corals, but nobody know about the seagrass. And we lost in the last 20 years 50% of the seagrass in the Canary Islands, which is half of it. It's
that's
crazy.
terrible. Yeah,
But
that's
it's global. It's not just Canary Islands. That's the thing. We love our coasts and are transforming them to what seem like human purposes, not realizing that a natural seagrass serves human purposes in a very basic way. I mean, if you like to breathe, listen up. They generally
And how you make people love it, like, that's because there isn't, we don't have Nemo or like Hollywood with the seagrass. Well, we need to create something out of the seagrass.
We do, and people they love dugong and manatee and some
And
of the
turtles.
turtles
Yeah.
that really rely on the seagrass meadows to survive. And I think that it's underappreciated about how much carbon is captured there. If you look through that economic lens, there's people that, oh, I want to buy carbon credits, or I want to do this, that, and if by protecting seagrass and restoring it to the areas where it's been decimated, very systematically and correctly, you can get a lot of that blue carbon credits, back into it, because it really does capture a tremendous amount of carbon and sequesters it efficiently.
But it's a huge problem because people don't really don't know about it. So people throw anchors, like, it's just a lot
Yeah,
of.
drag around.
So just to explain this deck a little bit, that I come back to the story. So when I was building that road that connects to the future port, I was a little bit not happy with my life. And I remember I have in my house this book called The Blue Hope by Sylvia Earle. And I was like, I need to do something that makes me feel happy and connected to what I'm doing. And so I quit my job and I literally started a nonprofit organization in marine conservation with no idea of what I was doing at that time.
Wow. Your father was probably going, what is going on here?
My father didn't recover since then. And yeah, for me, it was like, what's the point of making a lot of money as an engineer if I am not happy? That's why I didn't have a purpose. I was like just following orders of other engineers and like making a lot of money, but I wasn't doing, and seeing all of these pictures, and these are situations in the Canary Island. I took some of these pictures. The one of the sewer I took myself, and
That's
that happened. Yeah.
Yesterday we were talking about, you cannot treat the ocean like a supermarket and a sewer at the same time and
we
expect
do
no
both.
problem. But
We do both.
we do both. So
That's true.
Oh my God.
That's and the picture on the left, actually, is a beach in the Canary Islands where there is the highest concentration of microplastic in all the Macaronesia region. So it's just crazy. It's like 5,000 microplastics per square meter, which is insane.
Carlos, where does
Sorry?
where does it originate?
It's coming from the currents, and there is different sources. Actually, it's crazy that a lot of it is pellets. So it's coming from spills from boats or factories or who knows, but it's just coming with the currents, most of it.
yeah, we have a sample in a little jar that someone brought to the dive shop that shows just the raw pellets, or the the nurdles that are used in making the new plastic. And because they're shipped in container ships, when those are lost over the side and they break open, those nurdles are just cast up onto the shoreline, and it just mixes right in with the, as you see here, with the algae and the,
You know, some kids call them mermaids' tears.
it should be everybody here. It's sad, really
I'm
sad.
going to copy that one. I love it.
Yeah. But they're pervasive, and it's so hard. I mean, if you can imagine, like each one's so small, and you can imagine trying to pick those up. Just a Herculean task to try to get them out of the environment.
And they
Yeah,
break
it's
micro and nanoplastics. That's
Yeah.
part of the danger.
And accumulate in the fish and the
Yeah,
turtles
and
and
us.
the whales and us.
So,
yeah, at some point is how we are going to solve this problem.
well, it starts as with you. It starts with knowing. No, at first you have to know.
That's
And
true.
then if you don't know, you can't care. And when you start caring, then you can take action.
Yeah.
Nobody can do everything, but like you're doing what within your sphere of capability and the need, you can take that and make some progress.
What?
I can't do what you do, but I can do something else. Everybody can do something.
Yeah, together there's a lot we can get done together. What is
That's true.
happening with this sea turtle here? Was he rescued, I hope?
Yes, it was. This is unfortunately another situation that is very common, and this is a green sea turtle. And normally, green sea turtles are more avid to like they don't get entangled as much. But the careta careta, we call them in Spanish tortuga boba, that means silly turtle, because they are a bit silly. They are amazing animals, but they get entangled with anything that is in the surface of the water. So we keep seeing them entangled all the time.
Wow. Wow. Poor guys. It's like I always want to keep a pair of scissors or shears, knife, something so I can
Go diving.
help them when you find them like this.
Yeah, it's the other last Sunday I went just having fun with some friends going to the beach to see the turtles, and we found one that has a hook in her
Oh,
under the fin. But I was like, how's he got like that hook? And probably because everybody's like on the shore with the lines, and it's just we need
yeah.
a lot of occasion.
Yeah. And even the long line fishing catches a lot of turtles and
Yeah.
birds and other animals that are not intentional.
They go for the bait.
That they go after the bait and they get hooked, and they get hooked in weird ways or places. But so many of them on the long line would drown before they're recovered. But at least this guy had a chance and was spotted, and you were able to
Bravo.
help him.
Exactly. In 2017, that's when I have the decision of what can I do with my life if I want to do something for the ocean. So I started a nonprofit organization with no idea what I was doing. And since then, and now Innoceana has 25 full-time employees in Costa Rica, in Spain, and in the United States. We're a 501c3 in California, actually. So the organization keeps growing, and it's such an incredible. Yeah, I regret nothing, and even my dad now is very proud.
That's good. At first he didn't recover, but now he's come back around. He understands. That's
Slowly.
yeah, slowly. But your mom was probably supportive the whole way, right?
Well, when I saw you in San Francisco, my mom was there, and I remember at least with Sylvia, I connected them because she has been supporting me from the very beginning, and she still is. She came with me to the Goldman ceremony, and every time I can, I bring her to Tenerife to see the turtles, and she came to Costa Rica also to see the center we have there. So I think
Nice.
moms are, yeah, so important in the marine conservation world because I think women understand marine conservation better than men, generally speaking.
I kind of agree.
No disrespect to the many guys out there who are
Absolutely.
like you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Look at the face of this turtle. He's just so awesome. Look at that.
But
I
he's
know.
something on his chin.
What is that on his
A
chin?
little plastic something.
Little plastic something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That picture is actually in the place where the port was going to be built. This is a picture from Alfredo from my team, and they are around. I swear I swear I have 8 of them around me swimming at the same time. 8 of
Wow.
them.
Incredible.
It's incredible, this place. So just a little bit about Innoceana. This is the organization means innovation in the ocean. So we try to do things in a different way, and our mission is to future-proof critical ocean areas like Tenerife or this area of the port with innovation in science, education, and advocacy. And then we really, what I say here, and Sylvia, I think this way we are going to connect the best. We try to create marine conservation centers in hope spots. So we try to have teams of people working on the hope spots, and that's my dream and our dream as an organization.
My dream too. I really, really appreciate it. If we can gain support in places all over the world, we're not telling people what to do. We're asking them to use what they've got
Mhm.
to make a difference and to develop this network of hope leading to action. Hope alone is fine, but it doesn't get the job done. You need to get people like you putting it into action, and then to be able to communicate solutions. We've got a problem with turtles over here. How are you solving it? And sharing new insights. Or we have some difficulty with the administration of this area. How do we
How do we convince them? Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes it takes a submersible ride.
So,
Like your environmental minister in Ecuador, was it, that
Yeah.
saw the Mola Mola cruising by and was just like, wow.
even diving, so many decisions are made by people, decisions made about the ocean. They've never been on the ocean, let alone under the surface. I sat on the International Whaling Commission
Mm.
for 4 years, and I looked around and I wondered who else had ever been underwater and seen a whale alive. Almost everybody there had seen dead whales. How can they care if only they know dead whales? So it's so important to take kids, to take big kids, to take grown-ups, everybody, which is just what you're doing. I love this image where you've got a whole group of people celebrating the ocean, underwater and above.
Yeah. And I'm glad, Sylvia, you're saying this because that's how I make my board of directors. They were coming to Tenerife or to Costa Rica diving with me. And after that, they were like, I work for Amazon as a director in something, but I want to help and do something. So I was like, are you good with finance? I need a CFO or I need a treasurer. Or so
Yeah.
I found the most amazing people when we were underwater, and then the conversation after just create my team. So all of these people just in these pictures are people that has been meeting me under the water, and that's the best way to convince them.
And the mural on the wall there is just lovely, and it looks like you're also connecting or reconnecting the art and the science as well.
Yeah, this mural is in Costa Rica. It's from Carlos Hiller. This is an amazing artist, and yeah, whenever you come also to Costa Rica to see your hope spot, we would love to host you. And also, we need a submarine in Costa Rica. So we need too many submarines. That's the problem.
We're working on it. We have our map and all of our little dots there, the hope spots, and just really, really ready to light off
Yeah.
the program. So
And just very quick in the picture of the boat, I just want to highlight that that picture is in Costa Rica and in Caño Island. That is not as well known as Coco Island, but it's a beautiful biological reserve. It's a small island, 3 kilometers. And with El Nino, we experiment the worst bleaching event we ever seen there, and we lost 40% of the corals in the island in just 2 years and a half.
wow,
It's
that is
really
shocking.
it's hard.
Yeah, that's just devastating.
Well, we know that coral reefs are not just coral reefs, they're ecosystems. And when you take away the lobsters, you take away the parrotfish, you take away the sharks, the groupers, the corals themselves are less resilient. You need all of the elements that make a complete system to be able to bounce back when something like a heat wave or some disease. They're more resilient if everybody's there in their place. But we've taken so much away that the coral reefs are more vulnerable to disease, more vulnerable to the heat waves that are now increasing. So these fully protected areas are just critical to being able to restore damaged areas. And if you take all the lobsters, there's
Yeah.
no lobster there to recover and restore areas that have been depleted. Fortunately, there are still some, but imagine if we take them all. We have taken all of some things, some of the mammals in the Gulf, off the coast of Florida. There were monk seals, and they're gone. Every one is gone. And we're so close with the little vaquita
Oh, the vaquita. Oh,
and the Sea of Cortez. So around the world, we're right on the edge. We could take every last great white shark until they're so low, or before they're gone, to get them to the point where they're not enough to recover. So what you're doing is just exactly what needs to be done and magnified globally. You're setting an example.
and that's what we love to see, you know, like the Hope Spot champions really activated,
Yeah.
really thinking about how we can take it to the next level, how we can create blue-green economic, nature positive jobs and actual sustainability, not kind of pseudo sustainability like we see in so many places.
But you're working in at least two parts of the big mother ocean.
Yeah.
So yeah, and thank you. And I'm so excited to meet other Hope Spot champions in Nice, because I know there is this um, meeting that I'm going to be part of. So I'm looking forward to see you there too.
Oh, okay. What happened here?
Yeah, so let's
Okay.
let's talk about this port situation.
Yeah, this sports and it's very so. I am. I feel so proud to be a civil engineer that in Spain we call them ingenieros de caminos, canales y puertos. It's such a light profession, and they used to be presidents. They used to be even Nobel prizes of literature and things like that. So they are uh, and I am telling to my own career people like, hey guys, we need to change, we need to adapt, we need to look into nature-based solutions. We need to do, instead of a port, maybe we need to do an artificial reef to support the actual reef. And I am in that. Actually, tomorrow I'm meeting with the communication director of all of the civil engineers of Spain, and I'm hoping to share with you soon that I'm going to be in the magazine of the civil engineers, because this will be very oxymoronic for them, but I
Yeah.
think so necessary. So yeah,
Bravo.
Excellent.
um, this place that you know very well, it's actually the same place of the port. So on the left side we have the Hope Spot that I remember seeing you, Sylvia, in this webinar, that there were some politicians, and with Francis Perez and Natasha Aguilar. Francis Perez is in my view, the best underwater photographer in the Canary Islands, and Natasha, in my view, the best marine biologist in the Canary Islands. So they both, you have two incredible Hope Spot champions there, and then on the right side we have the Whale Heritage area that was promoted by Mercedes. That this woman is the only tour operator in the Canary Islands that is actually doing the right thing with with electric boats and without pollution and like respectful. So I just want to highlight that there is amazing people doing amazing things in this area.
That's wonderful.
The electric boats are quiet, which is another factor
Yeah.
that really is kinder to the ocean and the animals who live there.
Hmm.
And yeah, just to finish with the story of the boat, sorry, of the port of the boats. This picture is very sad. It's from Francis Perez that I just told you, and this pilot whale died when he was 4 years old, and it was because her caudal fin was cut by a propeller. And this kind of we call it, well, I mean, the Canary Island people, all of us call this whale Hope, and because the Hope Spot, and it was like the symbol to stop the port. And we created this platform, Salvar Fonsalia, that was I need to talk about Taime Smith, that was the woman who was managing all of the platform, and I was the engineer that was kind of against the construction on the port. And but there was a lot of people, and we convinced the government to change the idea and to stop the port. And this was like a huge celebration, and you can imagine.
Oh yeah, I mean, because it's a, I'm sure that the marketing was all about all the benefits, everything that's going to be coming with this port. And then, you come along and you're like, yeah, no port. And here's why.
It sounds Golden Prize worthy.
Absolutely. But images like this are so sad, but they also are so compelling. It's a true call to action when, people really do love being able to go out and see whales. They get very empathetic towards them. And then to see something that's just so, chilling like this, having the whole fluke, caudal fluke just cut off. It's it's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
So it
Yeah,
is
I think
a call to action.
it was incredible seeing all the Canary Island people against the port. Like that was what moved the politicians, because the politicians, they want votes, and there was 425,000 people voting against like the port, and that was incredible. But when that was happening, I was already installing the organization. I have people working on the side like full time, and believe me, having a marine conservation organization in Spain with salaried people is not common. Like in Spain, or non-profit organizations are based on volunteers. Actually, everybody told me like, you are a volunteer, and well, I have a salary. My people have a salary. Like we work as an organization.
Yeah.
So we continue working hard, and this year and a half ago, we got a European funded project called Hope, because we are building a marine conservation center and a school for kids, for an ocean school for kids in the area where the port was going to be built.
Oh, that's amazing.
What a
Bravo.
transformation.
Actually, you can see there, the Hope Center is going to be there just in the picture, and the port was going to be there. So this is kind of a huge transformation of this space.
Yes.
Yeah. It's much more holistic view, and one that is, taking nature into account, and it looks right in the design is very nature positive.
Well, and economically as well.
Exactly.
You keep the options open for many dreams. You take away the options and take away the dreams if you convert the heart of this place into something that is the cost of everything else, really.
So, and for me, this project, what is special in this project is all of the partners we have here. And of course, like we have Mission Blue as contributors, because this was inspired by Mission Blue. From the very beginning, I quit my job as a civil engineer, reading the whole book, and but for me, what is important is the connectivity of the Macaronesia, and we are connecting with Portugal, Cabo Verde, Ghana, Azores, like Senegal. It's so many countries, and we have partners everywhere. But the center, the big part of the project, is happening in the heart of the Hope Spot of Tenerife.
Excellent.
Well, you're connecting with the world, Carlos. And it's a model. It really can inspire others to look around and say, oh, it's impossible. The forces are so great. What could I possibly do that could turn things around? And you really set an example. It's no wonder people are standing up and cheering you, and myself included.
Of course. And yeah, this is what happened when you do things with your heart, and people follow you, and like people like you, Sylvia, people like you, Liz, and some people on my back nominated me for this, and I have here with me the trophy
There it is.
from San Francisco. So it's real. It's here with me, and it was incredible. I'm still dreaming about it. I didn't digest it. It's too much, and I feel so happy. And I thought this was going to be my year to take a break. It's not.
Oh no. Just get that out of your head now. It's just gonna go exponential on you now. That's good.
Before there was the Golden Prize, the Golden Foundation, the Golden family got behind the idea of supporting a 5-year National Geographic NOAA combined effort called Sustainable Seas Expeditions. And really for 5 years supported going from one marine sanctuary to another, as well as going down to Belize and to Mexico, to basically, it was the foundation of what has ultimately become Mission Blue, to see how people, given a chance to go out and given a purpose to explore and care for a place that they already love, it really is a catalyst that makes a difference. So I really salute the Goldman family with the Goldman Prize that has evolved now. And I remember the discussions about they wanting to have something that would honor individuals such as you who are out there making a difference, put a light on them, and celebrate the success in making a difference. And that just, it's contagious. Hope is contagious.
It
I-
is.
Thank you so much for coming to the ceremony. It was amazing. And this is probably this is for you, Liz. This slide, I was thinking a lot about you. Like probably just seen in some videos of this anglerfish that was in social media. It was viral. I mean, everybody around the world saw it. It happened in this spot, in the area I was speaking about. So we don't know anything that's going on down there. So it'd be amazing one day to have submarine there.
Yeah, this
And-
is the one that I think Sylvia was telling me about, that is used mostly for fish observation and documenting species,
And
right?
photography,
And
yeah.
photography. And this angler is such a beautiful, beautiful animal. It looks like it. You think this is a female? Does this look like a parasitic male down here?
Perfect. Anyway, the creatures that we have yet to really explore, to know. And that little submarine, I just applaud the pioneering spirit.
Mhm.
You don't go to the grocery store or the hardware store or department store or anywhere to buy a submarine
No,
off the shelf. Off the shelf. No, you have to, as the designers of this little sub were able to come up with the engineering design that enables them to go down to below where sunlight shines and share the view and obtain the photographs that such as this one. It's really a 21st century opportunity that I hope by the 22nd century it will be normal for people to explore, assuming that we can get from here to the 22nd century.
yeah, in one piece.
Successfully holding ourselves together and really continue to dream and
Yeah.
explore. Yeah.
But imagine the impact, Carlos, if, we get you trained up as a submersible pilot, and then you have the opportunity to take, like, I don't know, some engineering director and maybe
Their father,
their father
their
or
mother.
the head of public works, something like this, and you take them down and you show them firsthand, let them see with their own eyes what's going on down there. It's really transformative.
It is.
And I have a question the other day in a radio program saying like, what would you do with a promoter of a project that is going to destroy the ocean? I was like, I will bring it to the ocean. But I'm thinking always scuba diving. But if it's in a submarine, that would be like
Better.
even better.
Yeah, you don't have to teach them to dive or have them, worry about breathing underwater. You just
Step right in.
step in and go. And it's just the transformation in people is just incredible to watch.
Yeah, I'm really, I wish one day you really come with one or two submarines
Well,
and it's connected to,
fire.
it's
Yeah.
very connected to this project, MPA Canary Islands, because we want to reassess the MPAs around the Canary Islands, but we don't know what is down there. So having the information would be super useful.
Yeah, and it takes that kind of baseline data gathering, and be it eDNA, be it using AUVs, ROVs, submersibles. It's having that whole toolbox of technology that you can use to bring to bear and build the case for protection.
But, really, it should be the other way around. Those who want to exploit should justify their rationale. What gives them the right to destroy something that we can't put back once it's gone?
That's true. It's very expensive to try to put things back
And
together.
I wholeheartedly support achieving at least 30% of the ocean and the land protected in the next 5 years. Who would not wish to see that happen?
Yeah.
But why stop there? I mean, that's a good beginning. And 10% under strict protection is so much better than what we currently have. I mean, overall protection for the ocean is only about 3%. Really, about 3% is highly or fully protected right now. 97% of the ocean is open for exploitation one way or another. And that's our life support system. It's like saying it's okay to carve up 97% of your heart and just leave 3% to keep beating.
Yeah.
When are we going to really
Get a grip.
now face up to the critical importance of respecting the ocean, literally as if our lives depend on it, because they do. And it's because of actions such as what you're doing and what your fellow champions, individuals around the world who are why do we have even this motion to protect 30%? No one person can do that. It takes people who have begun to really awaken to the importance of the ocean, to every breath we take and every drop of water we drink, that our highest priority. We've got to understand why the ocean matters and then do what it takes to keep the ocean healthy so we can be alive, not just healthy.
Yeah.
And just quickly, numbers, Spain is at 20% of protection right now, but it's only 0.01% of real no-take zone protection. So we are there is a lot of paper MPAs all around Spain.
A lot to do, but you're doing it.
And I love this effort here of getting a group of 30 children out on their first diving experience.
This is, I always like to put some numbers to kind of to say, okay, now I'm doing this. So this is my commitment for this summer. And after the summer, I will send you a picture with the 30 kids that I want them to go under the water and see the turtles and have a discover scuba diving experience. And this is happening. So welcome to come this summer to the Canary Islands if you want as well.
Yeah. Now look at that's the turtle, you got the barracuda back there, and you got this kid who's just excited to go. It's awesome.
Right.
And yeah, this is a bit of a advertisement situation. These are two of the events that we are having in Nice at UNOC, and we are hoping to have you two. You are totally invited to join, and we would love to have you. One is about the corals initiative that we have in Costa Rica, that we are working with the immunological system of corals to understand what corals would survive. And then the other one is about the Macaronesia region and like how to protect it and engage. So this is happening.
Excellent.
Yeah, this I think you mentioned this, Liz, and I just want to highlight as an engineer, this destroying nature is easy, restoring is extremely difficult. It resonates me so much because for me is the best restoration is stop destruction. That's it.
Yeah. 100%. It's so much easier to go with the precautionary principle and to be more careful and protective, because once it's gone, it's kind of gone.
Once you've killed a whale, you cannot unkill.
Yeah. And as Sylvia was pointing out when we were talking the other day, that so many places that have been significantly altered, whether it's from dredging or oil and gas or overfishing or bleaching, those areas may come back, but they're still not going to be exactly as they were. It's sort of a new normal. It's sort of these new normals that we have to kind of think about and what we can do to kind of help accelerate, kind of regrowth of some of the species that we know from history were there, but they may never come back the way they were. An old growth forest, once it's cut down, it's going to take another 10,000 years for it to get back.
It won't be the same.
It's still not going to be the same, no. But we can at least
it'll be better
than it was when we messed with it.
There we are. Love that.
This was like an extra bonus situation. The last one after this is
yeah.
I was like, in case there is some time, maybe we can. This is the Hope Spot in Costa Rica, where I am proudly a champion. Innoceana is a champion, and I love it so much because all of the reasons that you see in the poster, and this is a design from my team, and yeah, it's just incredible. All the life we have there.
Yeah, it's so important for people to understand the connectivity, and I really like that you have some of the creatures, some of the land mangroves and things like this on because it's making that blue-green connection for people because we are so terrestrial, right? That when they start to understand that we can have a nice ocean, a healthy ocean, but it really starts on the land with the choices we make every day.
It's true. And
So
in Costa Rica, it's so easy to feel connected because you wake up with the monkeys and then you go to the ocean and you have the dolphins and it's just life everywhere.
Yeah,
having a corridor in the Pacific is the other vision for the future. We can do this. Oh, we have some questions.
yes, we do have some questions. Now's we have some fun things. All right, April is wondering, is there a way to help reduce noise and boat strikes, but also continuing ecotourism so people can appreciate nature? Or is it best that we just reduce mass ecotourism?
I have a story about this actually that happened to me 2 weeks ago.
All right, let's hear it.
The International Marine Organization is implementing new system for boats to reduce the sound and the impact. So actually, they are offering in Oceana to change the motors of our boat to have a better impact. And we are not ecotourism, but we could use our boat as a example for the ecotourism. So I think there is a way to mitigate, but of course there is always an impact. I don't think regenerative tourism is a reality. It's never going to happen.
Right,
But
right.
Well, here's the thing. Fishing boats make a lot of noise too. Their goal is not to go learn about the ocean or care about the ocean. Their job is to go extract. The tourism vessels do go to understand, explore, celebrate. So if we're looking at how do we look at the tourism industry, we should, with equal concern, look at the fishing industry
Mm-hmm.
because there are far more vessels out there taking from the ocean than there are those who are out there to appreciate and try to learn and love the ocean. So equal concern at least.
Definitely. Okay. Ben says, hello, my name is Ben. I'm a master's student working on my thesis at University
Oh,
of Las Palmas.
Gran Canaria.
Yeah, I've been trying to better understand the past seagrass restoration projects in the Canary Islands. I've heard there's been a recent recommendation that these restoration projects do not use seagrass transplantation as a solution due to past failure. How will you respond and what do you think about this?
So yeah, another good question. And actually, our permits to do another transplantation was canceled, was denied, and we changed it. Now we are doing looking for the seeds and doing different because the problem with the seagrass in the Canary Islands is that it's the same species, it's Thymodothea nodosa that you can find in the Mediterranean Sea, but it's much younger. So the evolution is not as strong as the one in the Mediterranean. In the Mediterranean, you see some of them in the ports. So inside the
Wow.
port, with all the pollution of the boats, and it still grows. And in the Canary Islands, I always make the joke that if you look with a bad eye to them, they disappear.
They're really
It's
done.
just so weak. They are the princess.
They're
So
like kids.
it's so difficult.
Yeah, it really is. But it's where the historical data sets can really be helpful as well, because we have in some places we see a lot of people just bam, put back seagrasses and they're planting them and doing whatever they can, but they're not looking at the historic data as to where the seagrass originally was. And so it has a much harder time getting established when you don't have it didn't have any history of ever being there. So it's important to go back and look at the old data, however difficult it is to access, and try to figure out where the best stands of seagrass really were and kind of focus on those areas first because you have a better chance.
It's we have a funny story with the restoration. We make a small transplantation to an area that historically has, uh, but we didn't take into account the amount of herbivores, fishes that were there. So they were like in a night, they just make disappear most of the. It was so much work for like kind of a like a small food for for fishes.
Oh, man. Yep, so see, that's the change over time, right? There are more herbivores, less predators, and yeah, so it's like a bunch of sheep coming through,
Exactly.
like my goats at home. Um, okay, Caroline says she's not actually asking a question, but she's just commending you for following your heart and helping the marine environment than just following the money. Okay, Valerie. Oops, wait. Here she is. Why isn't there protection for the surface of all oceans, not just 3% based on the vertical region?
Oh, good question.
It's probably just because lack of will, lack of political consensus, many
Understand.
things.
What do you think, Carlos?
Yeah, I for me is every time I look at the ocean and I see the marine protected areas like a kind of a square or a rectangle, it's like, what are we protecting? Are we protecting the surface of the ocean, or we're protecting all of the vertical? Because in the Canary Islands we have areas that is 3 kilometers deep. So it's just yeah, I think there is a lot of misunderstanding and sometimes, well, many times politicians don't really have never been in the ocean that they are trying to protect.
Yeah,
So it's just
and we've seen some MPAs where it is only protected at different depths, right? So you might not, like here in California, there's certain areas where they still allow trawling in the MPAs, but they can't touch the bottom, but they can still trawl sort of mid-water, which is, kind of strange. So it's like, is it protected or not,
Yeah, there's some marine protected areas that allow trawling. They do allow trawling on the bottom. What
Yeah.
are they actually protecting?
Yeah, what are you doing? So it's a tough question, and we need more voices to speak up and say,
And ask that very question.
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So Martin asks, how could Innoceana and Ocean 5 help establish an MPA in New Zealand, and Oceana? What would be the best engagement models?
well, it's funny because I know the Oceans 5 delegate in Oceania. So like I was speaking to him, and in Oceania is a small organization. Oceans 5 is a giant philanthropic
Yeah.
group. So um I like to think that involving I feel like in marine conservation engaging the communities is something key to any effort, and I think that's where any conservation or protection model needs to start, like working with the communities. And yeah, when I was speaking to the delegate of Oceans Fight that is called Sumasi in Suva in Fiji, he was telling me that he believes in the power of the community. So, and especially in places like Fiji, that there are a lot of tribals and like people, indigenous people. So I think it's about working with the people.
Yeah, I agree with that because it has to be kind of homegrown solution. You can't just sort of come in and say, you should be doing this. They have to want to do it,
And know
speak
why.
and know why.
Mm.
Okay.
Leaving an enduring ethic
Mhm.
and continue to invest in these places
100%.
and certainly engage the kids exactly what they're doing. Yeah.
Okay. Fabiola says, my question has always been, where do you start to create an initiative like yours? Based on your experience, what would you have liked to have known when you started? And what do you say or recommend to those who want to start an organization like yours?
Well, that's a
Dive
big
in.
question.
Leap of faith.
I I like to think that this is kind of an internal call. I always think about my inner child and what my inner child will be thinking about looking at me now. And when I was an engineer and I was working, my inner child wasn't happy. So I was thinking like I'm not doing what I should be doing. So it's about following your heart, having a really, really strong feeling of doing something. And then it's just about everybody's going to tell you it's difficult, everybody's going to tell you it's impossible, but it's just try, because if you fail, that's okay. I think you can always come back to your previous life. So thinking that helped me a lot. I was like, I will always be able to come back to work as an engineer. Well, when I stopped the port, probably not,
Yeah,
because
probably not.
nobody's gonna like me anymore.
You change countries.
It's exactly, you change countries, you just learn English, whatever. And yeah, so I think it's about don't give up and believe in yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tenacity and grit.
And,
Yeah.
and believing in that thing that you see needs to be done. And when people tell you no, you answer why not? Why not?
Mhm. Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
Sometimes there's a good reason why not.
But
Not
sometimes,
because somebody tells you, it's because you decide.
yeah, absolutely.
100%.
Natasha says, what would you like to grow Innoceana similar to Engineers Without Borders around the world? If so, what would you need to make that happen?
Hmm.
Well, okay. Innoceana grows to a $1 million organization roughly. Like, and I, I think I don't want to grow it anymore because the more money, the more problems, and the more fundraising, and the more,
Right?
you know.
Yep.
But I have big dreams, and I love the idea of nature-based solutions. And I think we need something big, like an organization or whatever, with very like-minded engineers who can think about what is the next development of this planet, thinking about nature as in the first line. Like we need to respect nature with development, and I would love to see something like that.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
with you.
I
Yeah.
think that spirit of collaboration is absolutely key because to your point, at a certain point, you're not doing what you love anymore because you're managing too much and it's overwhelming. But through collaboration with others, there's strength in that way too.
Make it contagious.
Make it contagious. Yeah.
Make it fashionable.
Okay.
Exactly.
2 more questions because we're kind of at the top of the hour. Collision incidents with marine mammals, such as ones leaving specimens with serious injuries, are they mainly due to commercial vessels or private boats?
Hmm.
I can maybe answer from the Canary Islands perspective, because I was speaking to these guys that they have all the data, and I think in the Canary Islands is one, commercial vessels, and two, fast ferries. Fast ferries are also very,
Yeah, that's
very.
brutal. They can't stop in time, and the whales often freeze when they get overwhelmed by noise and motion.
Right.
Okay, one last one. Is it a huge goal to try to shift the work of locals from fishing activities to ecotourism?
I think it's not easy, but it's possible. In Costa Rica, happen in the Osa Peninsula is this area called Ubita, and it was all about fishermen, and now it's all about whale watching. So there was an amazing switch, and they are making more money whale watching than what they were making fishing. So it's totally possible.
I agree. I've seen it happen too in places in Mexico like Isla Mujeres, where they've recruited the fishermen, the shark fishermen, to become shark guardians and ocean masters. And they've stopped fishing the sharks. So they're protecting them and taking divers and making more money now and expending less time. So it's a good thing.
Exactly.
All right. Well,
And more fashionable too, like more, yeah.
we are at the top of the hour. Before we go today, Sylvia and I would like to say thank you, Carlos, and
Yes.
to our producers, the Ocean Elders, and mostly to all of the community that shows up and dives in with us to participate in these programs. Water connects us all, and we're incredibly grateful. We're going to be taking a little bit longer break than normal due to World Ocean Month travel in June and a major Arctic expedition that you're going on for your birthday in July and August. And we're going to be sharing some summer reading recommendations, which includes everything ever written by Susan Casey, books and or articles and journals with Victor Vescovo, and the Caribbean Reef Life 4th edition book, and The Unnatural History of the Sea by Callum Roberts.
In all of his books, actually.
In all of his books, actually.
Yeah.
And another suggestion has been Playground by Richard Powers. And so we have lots of summer reading to do, and Gigi and Ocean Elders will be sharing some information via newsletter about some of the activities that are going on and what Carlos and Sylvia and everybody else is up to over the summer, and we'll be back in the fall.
We'll be reporting on the United Nations Ocean Conference for sure.
And maybe we'll see high seas protection come out of this. Maybe we'll see more countries joining in. And
Yeah.
Carlos will be there to champion that along with Sylvia and so many of the Ocean Elders and other ocean champions.
If only the whales could vote. If only the kids of tomorrow could vote, you know what the answer would be.
And we want to say, until next time, remain curious and remember, take care of the ocean.
As if your life depends on it.
Because it does. Thank you, Carlos. Thank you, everyone. We'll see you again soon.
Soon.
Bye for now.